Hi boys and girls, welcome back. These are our last 3 chapters this week for Fudge-A-Mania, and then it'll be a new book. I'm thinking maybe Double Fudge, if you agree. I have a couple other books picked up, but I have a feeling that you're going to want to go to that one. So Charlotte and I are here. Harry's down there. He might be popping up in or out, so we'll see how that goes. But for right now, I'm going to go to chapter 12.
Go.
Hi boys and girls, welcome back. These are our last 3 chapters this week for Fudge-A-Mania, and then it'll be a new book. I'm thinking maybe Double Fudge, if you agree. I have a couple other books picked up, but I have a feeling that you're going to want to go to that one. So Charlotte and I are here. Harry's down there. He might be popping up in or out, so we'll see how that goes. But for right now, I'm going to go to chapter 12. Dun, dun, dun. There. Baby feet. Mr. Fargo set up an outdoor studio in the side yard. He spread the canvas out on the grass like a rug. On Saturday morning, I saw him climb a ladder with a bucket of blue paint, and when he got to the top, he tossed it into the canvas. So when Sheila screamed, "Mrs. Hatcher, come quick, Fudge is all blue!" I figured he'd gotten into Mr. Fargo's paint. Grandma and Mom came running from one direction, me and Jimmy from another. Fudge was sprawled out on the ground near his garden. His face was streaked with blue, his shirt was stained blue, his hands were blue, he even had blue in his hair. His tongue, which hung halfway out of his mouth, was blue. Mr. Fargo's gonna go nuts, I told Mom. None of us are supposed to go anywhere near his art supplies. I don't think that this is paint, Mom said, spying an empty fruit basket on the ground. She picked it up and waved it at Fudge. "Did you eat up all the blueberries?" Fudge moaned. Ugh. "You ate our blueberries," I said. Jimmy and I were on our knees for more than 2 hours picking them, and Grandma was gonna bake us a pie. "I didn't eat all of them," Fudge said in a very small voice. "Turtle ate some." "You fed Turtle blueberries?" I asked. "He liked them." "Turtle's a dog," I said, and at the sound of his name, Turtle appeared from behind the bushes. He plopped down next to me. "Let me see your tongue," I said, opening his mouth. Blue. His tongue and teeth were all blue. Fudge clutched his stomach, "Oh," and moaned. "Boy, are you going to be sick," Jimmy told him. "I am already," Fudge cried. "My tummy hurts so bad." "I'm not surprised," Mom said. "I know exactly what he needs," Grandma said, heading for the house. She came back with that peppermint medicine that we get every time we have an upset stomach. You might maybe take it too. It's pink, like they said. Pepto-Bismol, maybe? "Down the hatch," she sang, feeding him 1 teaspoonful. "How about some for Turtle?" I asked. "Why not?" Grandma said. "What's good for the goose is good for the gander." And I held Turtle's mouth open, and Grandma poured in a spoonful. "Blue gas," Jimmy whispered. "He's gonna make blue, steamy, gurgly gas." "I don't want blue gas!" Fudge cried. "What are you talking about?" Mom said. "There's no such thing as blue gas." "There is if you eat enough blueberries," I told her. "Really, Peter?" Mom said. "Let's not make this any worse than it already is." Dad missed the blueberry adventure. He'd gone to the town dock, right after breakfast to see about renting a sailboat. By the time he got back, Mom had carried Fudge to the porch where she lay him on an old wicker couch. Everyone gathered around the blueberry boy. Everyone had a suggestion for him. "Lie on your tummy, Fudge," Mrs. Tubbins said. "That's what I do when mine hurts." "A hot water bottle," Mr. Tubbins said. "That'll fix it." "Make beautiful pictures in your mind," Buzzy Sr. said. "Just throw it all up," Mr. Fargo said. Sheila was about to say, "Ew, disgusting," when Dad ran up to the porch steps. "I've rented a nice little 19-footer, he announced. You could tell he was really excited. "We can take a picnic lunch." He stopped when he saw Fudge. "What's wrong with Fudgy?" he asked Mom. "Why is he all blue?" "It's a long story," Mom said. "I'll tell you about it later." Dad paused for a minute and shook his head. Then he said, "Well, I've got the boat from noon to 4, and I can take up to 6 passengers. I know Peter wants to come. How about the rest of you?" "I've never been sailing before," Jimmy said. "No problem," Sheila told him. "I'm an expert. I'll explain everything to you." Somebody should tell the Guinness Book of World Records about her, I thought, since she's the world leading expert on everything. "Count me in," Grandma said. "Count me out," Buzzy Sr. said. "Buzzy," Grandma said. You don't like sailing? About as much as a fish likes being out of water. Mr. Fargo said thanks, but no thanks. Mrs. Tubman said she really wasn't into water sports, but if Mr. Tubman would... Mr. Tubman said that he had no sailing experience, but he'd always wanted to give it a try. What about Fudge? She asked Mom. Fudge isn't going anywhere, Mom said. Except to the bathroom, whispered Jimmy to me, and we both cracked up. All 7 of us filed into the back of Mr. Fargo's truck. Have a good sail, he called, when he dropped us off with our gear. The boat Dad rented was tied to the dock. It looked kind of small, especially next to this really big boats that were moored in the harbor or docked in the harbor. As soon as we were on board, Dad handed out the life jackets. There was one for each of us, and Dad's rule was that we had to wear it the whole time. Then he started to explain the man overboard rule. Excuse me, Mr. Hatcher, Sheila said, but couldn't we just call it the person overboard? I mean, man overboard sounds so sexist, meaning that it should be, don't want it to say girl overboard because there's boys and girls, so if you say person, it kind of includes everybody. Okay, Dad said, the person overboard rule. He appointed Mrs. Tubman and me official spotters. If anyone fell into the water, our job was to point. No matter how the boat turned, no matter how it rocked, the spotter had to keep pointing so the person overboard didn't get lost. Maybe I should just wait here, Jimmy said. What do you think, Charlotte?